What's going on, you lean, mean strength machines? Coach Joe here at the Lions Den, and today I'm going to be doing my Q&A. This is the second Q&A I've done. We have a number of questions that have to deal with knee pain, my journey, and the ups and downs that I have faced to try to get this gym up and running, which I'm sure a lot of you guys will find interesting, or if you haven't known the story, it's pretty, it's cool. As well as talking about Strongman and my journey into Strongman in the future. So let's get cranking. Okay, so the first question I'm going to address is from Joanna, and Joanna asks just about Strongman overall. This is something that I am jumping into more. As you know, I did a video with Brian Alsrew from Maryland, and we're just going to keep continuing that relationship. He is somebody who inspired me to get more into Strongman after I'm done my Olympic weightlifting career, which will probably be for another year, and then I'll transfer into just getting balls deep into the Strongman stuff. Overall in Strongman, my perception of it was much like probably you guys, thinking that when I watch it on TV, it's these huge, massive, typically they look fat, guys either flipping tires, these big stones, you know, pulling cars or deadlifting cars. And really, in my mind, what I thought is, that's cool, but I really want to stay athletic. And when I see these guys, I thought, you know, they're very strong, but they're not very athletic. Until I met Brian. So Brian from Maryland's Strongest Men, is like 6 foot or 6'2", somewhere in between there, 200, probably 40, 50 pounds, and shredded. No lie, this guy does like burpee, muscle ups. He is swinging a sledgehammer faster than Thor could even catch up with, and he's just tearing it up. And he's got a background like jiu-jitsu and MMA and all that kind of stuff. And to me, it was fascinating. While he also lifts 300-pound plus Atlas stones and sprints with 300+ pound kegs. So to me, when I see a guy doing that, I'm like, yeah, I want to be that guy. The basis of Strongman has started hundreds and hundreds of years ago. They found stones, you know, that were over 600 pounds plus etched on them, that I lifted the stone, or so-and-so had lifted the stone over his shoulder with one arm. So it goes back a very long time. I watched a great documentary on Vice. So if you guys watch Vice, watch, I think it's the Vikings of Iceland. It talks all about the people in Iceland, and I think they follow Thor Bjornsson, who is in Game of Thrones. I met him at the Arnold, and just gives you more of a recap about that. You do a Strongman competition, you do something, there's different events, and they're structured differently, but for the most part, you're gonna do some sort of squat, some sort of deadlift, some sort of load, like an Atlas stone load, or a carry, and you're gonna do a push or a pull type movement, and either a press or a clean and press variation. It can be structured in all different ways, but you can assume that you're gonna have to do something like that, and it's multiple events. So you're not just showing up and doing a couple lifts, you're going to do almost like a whole day worth of events, and it's a very big, true test of strength. So get yourself ready, because I'm gonna start training for Strongman after I'm done my weightlifting career. I find it very fascinating, and I think that my training of doing Olympic lifting can only benefit Strongman and vice versa, and we'll just see how I do. I'm gonna enjoy the process. Okay, next question is from David, who came in here. Thanks, David, for this question. It has to do with patella tendonitis and how to deal with it. Well, being a lifter, and I'm sure you guys can relate, if you lift, you're going to acquire some sort of pain or injury along the way, especially if you're lifting heavy. That is just the nature of the beast. Lifting, you know, it does not feel good, sex feels good, and at some point, you're gonna have some sort of ache and pain. So what helps me is wearing a knee sleeve with the hole cut in it, which kind of provides a little bit of cushion on the patella tendon right here. That has definitely helped, as well as using, a Voodoo floss band, which I got off Rogue. So I've done a whole segment on how to help with knee pain, which I will tag below, because that video is great and it covers the entire topic of what you're looking for. So David, check that out. All right, so we got a couple questions about fat loss, and specifically love handles and lower back. Now, I've talked about this before, but there's really no such thing as spot reducing. Like, I can't focus on losing the fat below my calf. It's not gonna work that way. What really happens is, over time, your body will naturally, as you lose fat, will get to that area. Now for men, the last thing to go is like the #1 thing that you wanna lose. So your belly and your love handles and your lower back, it's gonna be the absolute last thing. You're gonna lose the weight everywhere else besides those pieces of your body. So yes, it's super frustrating, but you have to stay the course. So I'm gonna answer this question more in general because everybody's different, so I can't tell you, oh, you need to have your fats higher and your carbs lower, or your carbs higher and your fats lower. I can't tell you that, but what I can tell you is that these things, if you cut them out or eliminate them or implement them, it will affect your weight. If you start increasing tons and tons of vegetables with every meal, you will feel better and look better. If you increase your water intake to about 1 gallon plus a day, that will help flush a lot of crap out of your body. If you get rid of processed foods and things you cannot pronounce, that will help you extremely, okay? As well as making sure that you guys are not consuming large amounts of alcohol, okay? Alcohol will keep fat on the body, and oftentimes I see a lot of people who train very hard and they drink a shit ton. Man, that's just so counterproductive. So if you want the results, you're gonna have to really put your priorities in check and get rid of the alcohol, because that's gonna store a ton of fat. Moving on, Christian, ASL, age 24, sex, male, I think. Location, we are located in Colmar, PA. All right, so here comes the supplement talk. I'm not gonna go over this because I covered it so many times. The question had to deal with protein that helps gain mass. Now listen, I'm not a big supplement advocate. Yes, I think protein is awesome. I take it after workout, but if you're looking to gain mass and looking to get that through a supplement, that's the wrong attitude to have. We've been conditioned and brainwashed to think that way. It's instant gratification. Gratification. My suggestion to you is to eat a ton of meals, okay? So we're talking like 4 to 6 meals per day. Increase your caloric intake. I want you to take in a lot of steak, starches, vegetables. That's gonna help put on good mass over a period of time. Drink more milk, okay? Get your fats in, peanut butter. All that good stuff is gonna help put on some size. Now in terms of training, and if you're really trying to, put on some size, do the strongman stuff. Do powerlifting, big compound movements. Those movements are gonna put such a stimulus on your body and your muscles that you will grow so much faster than if you're doing bicep curls all the time or doing, your chest presses all the time. Think more big compound movements in your training rather than bodybuilding, and I can guarantee you will put on size over a period of time. Question from Derek, it says, deadlifts back day or leg day? How about its own day? I do deadlifts on their own day. It's a deadlift day. I don't think of it as legs or back, I think deadlift day. So the way I do my programming is I have squats on one day, overhead press, deadlifts, bench press. And it just rotates the intensity, all that kind of stuff. That's what I do. So I don't even think of it as a back or a leg day, I just think deadlift day. What's the antagonist muscle to the deadlift? It's the alive lift. I should probably just hit myself in the head with a dumbbell. All right, next question is from my man Ryan. Ryan asked this on Snapchat. It says, I got a question for you. What are your biggest roadblocks you've had? Injuries, financial, emotional? All of them. Let's get to it. So injuries, last year during my weightlifting career, I was planning on hitting nationals, and then in one of my meets, I tore my meniscus. And it was one of those things where it was the first time I ever really had to get one, put under and have surgery on something. And that was kind of nerve-wracking. And then 2, it was a pause in my weightlifting career. So it was just different. And if you're an athlete and you're competitive, the first time anything really like that happens that's serious, it kind of just messes with your head right off the bat. So that's really the biggest injury I've had. So the biggest roadblock I would say in this whole year has been this gym. And what happened with this gym is this is actually the 3rd location and the final location of the gym. I had 2 previous ones before that, and the story's just been kind of crazy. I'll try to sum it up very quickly. The first one was a structural problem with the floor. The floor was made out of a composite material, and dropping heavy ass deadlifts on a floor like that definitely crumbled the floor, and it was a problem. Also, I was next to a tattoo shop, so the walls were vibrating, so when you would drop a bar that heavy, it would shake the other side, and people tattooing, they weren't happy about it. It wasn't working for me, so I had to leave. I then went to a second location, which needed a ton of work, and it just didn't work out with trying to get that whole place set up. In the meantime, I was searching and I finally found this place, which is amazing. During that whole time period, I faced things like depression. I got super depressed because there was so much expectations of me opening this place. I was so excited. So I went from a huge high to an ultimate low. Financially, it was also very challenging for me because I didn't have steady work and I'm trying to open up a business. So, times got tough trying to feed myself and take care of myself. So yes, you guys see this, and this is absolutely amazing, and I love what I do every single day. However, there's a cost for it, and to me, everything is worth it, but it's definitely tough, and it's a journey for sure. Dan asks about abs without doing cardio or ways to motivate him to do cardio so he can get abs? Well, first of all, I think the biggest thing, yes, it's absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible to do a ton of cardio and have abs, or not do any cardio and have abs. I think a lot of it has to do with your genetic makeup as well, okay? Which a lot of people don't, take into consideration is their genetic profile. I know guys who can eat cheeseburgers every single day and Oreos and have a six-pack. I also know guys who train very hard, cardio, eat right, and it's tough for them to get abs. But really what it comes down to is, I think, nutrition and proper nutrient timing of how you're eating, but it is absolutely possible. A way to motivate you to do cardio is to switch up your cardio. I find sitting on the Stairmaster or doing the treadmill or elliptical very boring, but I find pushing sleds back and forth is fun, or doing rowing intervals or doing burpees. It kind of takes your mind away that you're doing cardio and you have fun doing it. Maybe you do once a week of going and playing a sport for an hour. That's cardio. I don't think that fasted cardio really matters. I think it's kind of more of a myth. I do think fasted cardio makes you feel amazing. So if you want to feel great, do fasted cardio, but I think it's all about caloric deficit. So if you're in enough of a deficit, you will burn fat and preserve muscle. All right, this is probably going to be one of the last questions, and it's how do I stay motivated? Tom asked this on my Snapchat. So the way I go about motivation is it has to come deep from within, okay? Anybody can go to the gym for 2 weeks, but how many people can go to the gym for 2 years every other day? Not that many people. So really what it comes down to is having a deep reason why. Why do you do what you do? And it has to come from deep within you. And that's not something I can really tell you. I can help try to figure it out. But for me, my deep reason why has to do with my legacy and the fact that I'm gonna die. And what I do now, I want to live long after I'm dead and people to know my name. So every day when I wake up, I know that death, the Reaper, is right there trying to eat my face off. And I'm pretty much trying to give him the double bird and leave my legacy for him. So there you guys have it. That was my second Q&A I've ever done. If you liked it, please give this a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, drop any comments or questions you would like to see in the next Q&A that I do, and I really appreciate all the support. I'm doing this to grow the strength community. I'm very passionate. I don't have all the answers, and I'm just going to learn with you guys and share my story about my business and how I got to where I am today, how I got the strength that I have now. And if you guys can take one thing from that and just learn or implement it in your training or your life, man, that's an amazing thing for me. So thank you, and I'll keep you up to date with everything.